biggest concerns about assessment are that we really need to assess for learning and for understanding, and whatever assessments we make, it needs to be given in such a way to the students that it helps them work together to improve it, I suppose. And a lot of the time we assess the school's needs, or we assess for the parents' needs, or we assess for the standards, but we tend to forget that the assessment needs to be a feedback loop for the students, because the whole idea of assessment to me is to give them a sense of agency, that they can improve their work and that they can tackle difficulties and get over them and become really emancipated learners. So I guess that's where I'm coming from, and I'm not sure how that all sits with you, but that's kind of my starting point. From there, I think if we want to make really clear assessments with our students, we need to be clear what it is we want them to be able to do. And just the last couple of days I was looking at some units, and I noticed that the skills statements were really hard to understand, and I thought, well, if I'm finding them a bit unclear, how would the students know unless the teacher was a superb interpreter? So if we're developing a unit, I think things need to be written in language that is child-friendly and really clear. And in the process of making it clear, sometimes actually your teaching becomes better, because if you're thinking about standing in the child's shoes, then when you get your unit to a revision state, you realise that in fact you yourself are clearer about what you wanted the students to be able to do. So that would be the second thing that I would be considering doing. And if we are teaching skills and we are teaching content, or in a 21st century learning environment, if we are using online tools, then we need to create, and I think this is where Mike and I definitely share ideas, we need to create a rubric that indicates to students the levels of proficiency that we expect. And when we are using unfamiliar tools, I think it would be really helpful to sit down together with students and develop the rubrics together. So if we were using graphic organisers, and I know that they're not a brand new tool, but if you're using graphic organisers, it would be great to sit down with the students and say, well, what constitutes a really good graphic organiser, and how would you be able to tell a really good one from one that's just a little bit simple, or a little bit underdeveloped, or perhaps a bit sloppy, or something that's not even finished, so that students get a sense of, well, these tools really help me, rubrics really help me. These rubrics are there so that I can tackle my work better and differently. So I guess that those kinds of thoughts inform what I do with my assessments.
And if I can jump in real quick, one of the things I wanted to show them was
I think I probably want a little bit more from Mike to know what's useful to your next.
Can you hear me okay, Wilma? Can you hear me, Wilma?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can, Mike.
One of the things that I thought would be important to know is we're going to talk about a web tool that teachers and students can go and build these rubrics collaboratively. But you don't have to do it on the web. I mean, you can just write them out. But the students do need ownership of that, so that they're understanding they're not being graded so that they're being punished by the grades. They're being assessed for their proficiency around what it is they know and are able to do, which is what we're looking to have. And unfortunately, that's not what's going on in our classrooms. Kids are being given a grade, and for a lot of them, it's a reward or a punishment. And it's not a proficiency measure. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to a 12th grade student that I had back when he was in the 7th grade, and he missed graduation by 2 points because of a social studies class, and they did not allow him to walk across the stage. And I thought that was absolutely criminal, because he knew the content, he didn't do any homework, and he understood that he had a responsibility issue. He understood that there was sort of a lack of control on his part, but he knew the material. And because of that, he had spent 13 years, kindergarten through 12th grade, preparing for this moment of, I'm here, I've done what's needed to be done, I've proven my learning up to this point, I didn't do some homework assignments, I made a 63 instead of a 65, and now I'm not walking across the stage. yes, he's going to go to summer school, and yes, he's going to go on with his life, but I think it's awful that we're punishing him with a number that doesn't represent anything about what he knows. So, and that's one of the reasons that we're doing what we're doing with assessment and upgrading it. So I'm going to stop talking again for a minute, Wilma, because I'll keep going. I'm going to let you talk a little more, and then we'll talk some more about what you've said.
Okay. The other thing that really hit me last year when I was working with two grade 8 designed our unit, a 4-week unit, how the code assessment was. So we had set tasks all through our unit that related to different steps that they were taking in their inquiry, their research, and their participation in online game. And after every lesson, the teacher and I, we were team teaching, we would get together and we would look at some of the work samples, but also discuss the particular things the students were doing in the light of what they'd done before, they didn't do. And I think that when you keep a little diary of notes, even really simple notes, it generally helps with formative assessment before you get to the summative, before you get to grading things. And I think when you use formative assessment along with your summative assessment, you can start creating some differentiation when you need it.